And I'm really gratified to get the feedback that we've been getting this year and last year about the changes that we've made. So thank you all very much. And that wouldn't have been possible without our sponsors. And once again, please let me thank our diamond sponsor, our longtime partner, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, our platinum sponsors, AT&T, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC, the MLive Media Group, PNC Bank, PwC, and the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. And I also want to thank, as we have our last morning here, our friends at the Grand Hotel. So our thanks to everyone. I think this is a special place, Mackinac Island, the Grand Hotel, and I think they are about as much of this conference as we are and as all of you are, and they've just been a great partner. So I just want everyone to know that the way we handle the weather here for the Mackinac Policy Conference, it's just $20 to Dan Musser. It just works out great. I tell them to make it to rain when I need people inside. I tell them to make it sunny when I need to be out on the porch. It works out just great. And I hope everyone has stopped by the MEDC Michigan Connect, Talent Connect booth right in the lobby. They're doing great stuff out there. Last night, we announced the new chair of the 2013 Mackinac Conference, and if you weren't there, let me say that Joe Welch is our new chair, and Joe is somewhere. Right. So Joe and I are going to have a great time working together, and I want to remind everyone of next year's conference dates. We're back to the Wednesday through Friday format, beginning May 29th, concluding on Friday the 31st. But we're going to find a way to make sure that this syncs up very when with the Grand Prix, because we know many of you want to be at both places at the same time. We're going to make sure that we make that happen. So when I came to Michigan 2 years ago to join the regional chamber, I made a commitment that we would make economic development the core of the Detroit Regional Chamber. Because if we were a Chamber of Commerce based in the city of Detroit, but focused regionally, and we were not focused on economic development, then we were definitely in the wrong business. And we, as a team, are truly committed to moving the economic needle in Southeast Michigan and Michigan as a whole, and doing so in a very collaborative manner, knitting ourselves together so we can become more than the sum of our parts. Because one of the challenges that we have in Southeast Michigan, and perhaps Michigan as a whole, is our ability to work in a cohesive and collective fashion. Over the generations in Michigan, we have found so many ways to divide ourselves. County versus county, east versus west, union versus management, urban versus suburban. And those days need to end, and fortunately are ending, as we turn this corner in Michigan and we're seeing a bright new future for our state. I am very pleased that our organization and others have been working very closely together over the last few years to develop a cohesive approach to regional economic development. And I'm very pleased that when we kicked off this conference on Tuesday, we did so in a press conference with Chip McClure, Jerry Anderson, Mike Finney, Nancy Schlichting, and myself, announcing a brand new regional economic development campaign. And you have on your seats just a simple little brochure of the 4 main programs that we are executing to move the economic needle in Southeast Michigan. And we're doing so in full collaboration and cooperation with the MEDC. And I want you all to understand and know how important it is for all of your business organizations to work together as we do this. So please stay tuned. I look forward to updating everyone next year on the progress that we've made on this new regional economic development campaign. But that's next year. This year, let's start our program. And to carry on for the rest of the morning, I am very pleased to turn the microphone over to my friend, my boss, and the guiding light behind this year's conference. Please welcome the CEO of the Henry Ford Health Systems, Nancy Schlichting.
Good morning and welcome to our final day, which frankly is as strong as every day we've had this week. And I do want to thank all of you for your attentiveness, for your enthusiasm, for being at all of our sessions in great attendance. And I also want to thank all of the first year attendees of this conference. I know we have people from around the state that have never been here. Some have never been to Mackinac Island, never been to the Grand Hotel, and never been to the Mackinac Policy Conference. So thank you all for attending. We're kicking off this morning, I think, with a fantastic session sponsored by Ford Motor Company. And as I'm sure all of you would understand, this is a very special honor for me to introduce our first speaker, Bill Ford. Some of you are probably aware that the Henry Ford Health System was founded in 1915 by Henry Ford, who had an amazing vision for not only providing outstanding care for the citizens of Detroit, but also to provide innovation in healthcare, some of which, frankly, we're returning to today. Ideas around food and wellness and really taking care of ourselves is very much what Henry Ford had in mind, and we continue that great vision today. But today, Henry Ford's great-grandson is at the helm of not only what is perhaps the hottest car company on the planet, but is the embodiment of the Ford family's long and strong commitment to the people of the state. Bill Ford is not only the executive chairman of Ford Company, we're very proud to have him as a member of the Board of Trustees at the Henry Ford Health System, and he is continuing a wonderful tradition of Ford family involvement in our organization. As we work to make Michigan more globally competitive, this is the perfect time and place for Bill to share with all of us his insight on Michigan's future and the future of the auto industry. He's here today to discuss the role the auto industry plays in global innovation and share his vision regarding the future of urban mobility and global gridlock. He will also explore the ways that Michigan is well positioned to lead the world in automotive communications innovation. Please join me in welcoming to the stage a great friend of the Mackinac Policy Conference, a great friend of Detroit and Michigan, Bill Ford. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, thanks and good morning, everybody. We are so fortunate to have some great leaders in our area, and a lot of whom are sitting here this morning, and all of you are good friends of mine, but one that I have to call out is Nancy. I mean, what she's done with the health system is truly remarkable. You think of the state that the Henry Ford Health System was in prior to Nancy's arrival, and the fact that they just won the Baldrige Award, which is the toughest award you can win as an organization. Just the application process of that alone will kill most organizations. And not only did they get through it, but Nancy's leadership has just been amazing. And so, you know, we focus in our area about the economic comeback of a lot of our companies, but we should never overlook what has been going on at the Henry Ford Health System. And we're very fortunate to have Nancy as part of our leadership group. Well, this is really fun to be here with a positive vibe. It seems like every time I'm here, certainly in the last X number of years, we've always been in crisis mode as a community and certainly as an auto industry. And it's what a difference a few years makes. And I mean, I think it's remarkable to see everybody in our area smiling again and relaxed and actually enjoying being up here rather than having a lot of hushed, hallway conversations, which was sort of the norm the last few years. So it's great, and the whole tone, I think, of this conference is very, very different than prior years. I really hate giving speeches, by the way, because I think I'd much rather have an interactive thing with all of you going on. I think it's more fun for you, it's more fun for me. But I have to soldier through this, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. And we'll get to the panel, which I think you'll find much more interesting and exciting. But I do have a few thoughts I'd like to share with you about where I think the state is headed and where we can create a leadership role for us in Michigan. And one of the most important things that I have seen is just been the revival of manufacturing. Not only are jobs coming back, but there's also a renewed respect, and particularly nationally, for the importance of manufacturing. And for many years, both at this conference and elsewhere, we've talked about diversifying the state of Michigan's business base. And I agree with that approach, but I also think that we can do that by building upon our strengths. And our state, as you all know, has a great manufacturing base, and it'd be crazy to ignore the value that it represents. by growing new industries to support our existing ones will not only improve our economy, but it'll also make us more diverse in the process. And manufacturing in general, and the auto industry in particular, is a major contributor to the national economy. We provide jobs and tax revenue, R&D, create new products and technology, and also promotes overall prosperity. And I said this before, but no healthy economy since the Industrial Revolution has prospered without a strong manufacturing base. And governments outside the United States get this, and they understand the value of manufacturing. And they work very hard to advantage their own industrial base. And some of them even do so by ignoring the principles of free trade. They keep their markets closed, manipulate currencies, and subsidize key industries. But we in Michigan understand the importance of manufacturing. Unfortunately, prior to the meltdown of 2008 and the recession that followed, many people in our country dismissed manufacturing as old-fashioned and irrelevant. And they admired people who made deals, not people who made things. But thankfully today, I believe there's a new respect for manufacturing across the country. There's a growing recognition of the contributions we make and the impact that we have on the entire economy. And in today's economy, there's one fact that's especially relevant. No other sector of the economy creates as many spin-off jobs as the auto sector. For each job created in the auto sector, 9 more jobs are created to support it. And as you all know, last month, Michigan's unemployment was down to 8.3%, which is fantastic, and it's the lowest it's been since July of 2008. And half of those new jobs created were in the manufacturing sector. And even after the economic downturn, manufacturing, this is a huge number, accounts for more than 70% of all the R&D spent in our nation. And that's huge, obviously, because it plants the seeds for our future growth. And one of the seeds that's blossomed from our R&D efforts is the green technology that's transforming the auto industry. These innovations are an excellent example of how new industries can grow organically from Michigan's strengths and the benefits that they can bring to our economy. Now, in recent years, concerns about the economy have converged with another critically important issue, the environment. People are worried about the affordability and the availability of fuel and the effect of CO2 emissions on the climate. And as worries about the environment have grown, so has the demand for environmentally friendly products. The auto industry is addressing this issue with new technology that's coming at an ever more rapid cadence. Now, fuel economy is now the #1 consideration for customers when they buy new vehicles, and our engine technology is delivering that to them. Now, I've worked in this industry for more than 30 years, and as most of you know, one of my major goals has been to reduce the environmental impact of our products. But even as others began embracing this notion, the technology we needed to make a real difference wasn't fully developed until very recently. Because being an environmentalist used to mean you were always against something and never for anything. But thanks to new technology, I'm happy to say that isn't the case anymore. In recent years, there have been breakthroughs in technology that are allowing us to make improvements that we could only dream about in the past. And Michigan is at the center of all these developments. At Ford, for example, we've invested nearly $1 billion to build electric vehicles and the battery packs that power them right here in Michigan. And this is becoming a core competency for us in the 21st century. And we're building our expertise to do all of that right here. Our investment included $550 million to transform the Michigan assembly plant from a large SUV factory to a modern car plant that produces our gasoline Focus, as well as Focus and C-Max electrified vehicles, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, pure electric, and then EcoBoost engines as well. And as part of that transformation, we worked with DTE Energy and the state of Michigan to install one of the largest solar generating systems in the state. And that's going to save us about $160,000 every year in energy costs. We've been making these investments in Michigan because Michigan has demonstrated a desire to be competitive in creating jobs for the future. The incentives and tax credits that we were offered were vital to our efforts. And as we consolidate our electric vehicle expertise here in Michigan, we want that competitive spirit to continue. This new technology is getting established and is already showing really good returns for our state. But even as we find ways to address long-standing environmental issues, a new challenge is appearing. And once again, with any new challenge also comes great opportunities. I first started talking about this issue more than a year ago at high-profile venues across the globe. It's an issue that will require us to rethink transportation at a very fundamental basis. And if we don't, the future of what I consider individual mobility, I believe, is uncertain. Right now, there are about 1 billion cars on the road worldwide. And with more people and greater prosperity, that number could grow to 4 billion by mid-century. Now, the sheer number of vehicles could threaten the personal mobility that we've enjoyed for more than 100 years. If we do nothing, we will create global gridlock, a never-ending traffic jam that wastes time, energy, and resources. And now urban mobility is of particular concern. In the decades to come, 75% of the world's population is expected to live in cities, and 50 of those cities will have more than 10 million people. These so-called megacities will present a unique challenge to personal mobility, threatening the economy, the environment, and even the health of their residents. Now, whether you look at it as a business opportunity or a human rights issue, how we move around in the world in the future is going to be one of the most compelling challenges that we face. To address this issue, we're going to once again need new technologies as well as a new way of looking at the world. We're going to need to view the automobile as only one element of a transportation ecosystem. Pedestrian walkways, bicycles, buses, planes, trains, automobiles, everything is going to have to be fully integrated using real-time data to save time and conserve resources. To do that, we're going to need to have cars that can communicate with each other, but also importantly, with the world around them. Wireless communication will become an essential element of vehicle technology. And I believe this is another area where we can diversify our state's economy by building on the strength of our existing manufacturing base. To integrate these technologies into vehicles and also into the infrastructure is going to require an incredible variety of high-tech and policy jobs. Computers, software, communications, data analysis, all these and more will be needed, as will urban planning and policy experts. Meeting the challenge of connected mobility will provide great opportunities for employment in the future. Now, this technology is in varying stages of development and even deployment, but it promises to radically transform the experience of driving. And as it develops, I believe Michigan must become the Silicon Valley of the mobility revolution. And that's easier said than done. Silicon Valley has a culture of capital formation and risk-taking. We don't. Stanford and Berkeley encourage their top students to pursue this path, and venture capitalists swarm the valley, ready to fund new ideas. Michigan must match this intensity to ensure that the next generation of transportation technology is developed right here in our state. Why should Tesla, Coda, and Fisker have developed out there and not here? We've got to work harder at getting startups to happen here in our state. Now, my fear in all this is that with the autos and the Tier 1 companies in recovery, there will be a sliding back into complacency, an assumption that the century-old model is alive and well again in our community, and that the past 6 years were just an anomaly. If this becomes true, we're going to consign our state and our companies to a slide into a grim future. Our quality of life and our economic vitality will slowly ebb away if we think that the old model is going to transport us into the future. But I believe that Michigan's uniquely positioned to lead this transition to new technologies and renewed industry. First of all, we have a huge customer base here with our large manufacturing companies. Any high-tech supplier should want to be close to their customers. We have a skilled labor force, an excellent education and training system, intellectual capital in all new technologies, and of course we have manufacturing excellence, and our cost of living is far more competitive, certainly, than Silicon Valley. And in addition to that, we're located at the crossroads for international trade. We also have some of the finest colleges and universities in the world. And I'm actually encouraged by the progress that we're starting to make. A study released last fall by Tech America Foundation found that Michigan added more high-tech jobs than any other state in 2009 and 2010. And the Tax Foundation, a nonpartisan tax research group, I didn't think there was such a thing, recently upgraded our corporate tax ranking from 49th to 7th in the nation. And we can keep this momentum going if we're frank about the areas in which we can improve and build upon our advantages. We need to update the state's tax system to eliminate personal property taxes, the taxes we pay on our machinery and our equipment, because this places us at a disadvantage compared with surrounding states like Ohio, but also against locations in Canada and outside North America. Now, the governor has made it clear that reforming this tax on new manufacturing investment is one of his priorities, and we stand with him on this critical issue. And earlier this month, the Michigan Senate passed a personal property tax reform package, and we're looking for the House to pass its own version. To compete as a world-class community, we also need a world-class infrastructure. A region that's trying to compete in a global market should make the best use of every unique advantage that we have. And our location on the US-Canada border certainly qualifies us as having a unique advantage, but our crossing is getting too crowded. Anything that can improve the flow of goods across the border will help strengthen our business and, frankly, all of our businesses. We strongly support the construction of a new crossing to improve traffic flow and reduce congestion. On a broader scale, Michigan has always been supportive of free and fair trade. It's also helped strengthen our business. Free trade agreements, however, should enhance open markets and not be used to reinforce one-sided trade flows. Federal and state governments must be willing to lead efforts to establish trade agreements that support U.S. manufacturing and reject trade agreements with countries that haven't demonstrated open market access. We also need to start working on the infrastructure of the future, the electric grid. It's appropriate and I believe necessary for the state that's going to lead the way in electric vehicles to have an infrastructure that supports those vehicles. And finally, we need to reclaim the entrepreneurial spirit that made us a world leader in the first place. And I'm proud to say that Ford isn't just talking about what needs to be done to move Michigan forward. Earlier this month, Tech Shop Detroit celebrated its grand opening in in Allen Park. Tech Shop is a high-tech, do-it-yourself workshop that helps inventors and entrepreneurs turn their ideas into reality. Ford helped bring Tech Shop to Detroit to drive innovation in southeastern Michigan and other companies as well as our own. We're giving 3-month memberships to Ford employees who submit good ideas. We're really encouraged by how quickly Tech Shop has gained members. It's off to a great start. And earlier today, we announced a startup suites program called Jumpstart, which offers discounted office space near Tech Shop Detroit to startup companies that need space. We also announced Innovation Exchange, a new technology incubator at Tech Shop. Innovation Exchange will be managed by the Detroit-based Auto Harvest Foundation, which also operates an online technology showcase. All these efforts are to encourage innovation, not just in our company, but throughout our entire state. New ideas are a priceless resource and the ultimate driver of economic growth. Michigan is home to the auto industry, but the trends affecting our industry offer a great opportunity to make it the home of a variety of other industries as well. We're headed in the right direction by putting the right policies in place and investing in our future. I love this state, and I'm determined to keep us at the forefront of new technology and manufacturing. I'm looking forward to a dynamic, diverse, and growing economy here in Michigan and a brighter future for us all. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. Well, obviously, mobility is the topic of my remarks, but it's also something that the business leaders of Michigan has made a key pillar of what we want to get done. And so what I'm going to do now is exit stage left. You're going to see a video and then a panel of which I'm one will come back up and continue this discussion in terms of what mobility in the future means for Michigan. So thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Perigo, Mike Jandernoa.
Michigan has a long history of innovation. After all, it was my great-grandfather Henry Ford and other automotive pioneers from the state of Michigan that put the world on wheels more than a century ago. As Michigan's turnaround gets underway, you can begin to see how we can grow a new Michigan. If we focus our efforts by building on our centers of excellence, our state is well poised to lead in the 21st century.
Where are the best ideas going to come from? Well, I'll tell you what's certain is that the places that have the most engineering talent, you can bet that they're going to be in the running to be the most competitive places in the world. I often return here to Michigan to work on the most difficult problems because the engineering in this part of the world is the best.
Michigan can really take advantage of what we have in terms of location, in terms of underutilized infrastructure, and in terms of the knowledge and skill of our people here in Michigan to be the next global logistics hub.
Think about mobility in its broadest terms. It's not just mass transit, it's not just cars and trucks. It's everything that moves people around. We now have this new challenge, the notion of solving global gridlock. And that challenge, I believe, will be solved here in Michigan first.
Lifestyle that we have here in Michigan is unique, and our abundant resources drive a lot of that and make it a very special place to be and live and work.
There are a lot of champions of the life science economy in Michigan. We've got a robust history and heritage of involvement in the life sciences for a lot of great reasons. And Michigan's background, not only with its universities, not only with its medical centers, not only with its well-established physicians, but also its huge, vast array of support services into the pharmaceutical and medical device industry, is poised to be part of that new future at prices that everybody can afford.
Really does have an enormous economic impact on the state of Michigan. And in these ways, we are really helping to drive an economy that we find ourselves competing in today. As the president of the University of Michigan, when I say Michigan, I'm not just talking about the university. I'm talking about our great state.
There are so many possibilities that lie ahead for Michigan's future. What's so exciting is that these opportunities are not something we have to dream about. They're all here and starting to happen today. We need focus, investment, and teamwork to accelerate these opportunities. Now, you may be wondering where you fit into this. At every level, we can all be part of shaping the new Michigan. Please share this vision of our state with others to get them thinking about the possibilities. Help your friends and family understand the potential that Michigan has if we align behind some common goals. Every one of us can encourage our leaders to make decisions that will position our state for long-term prosperity and job growth. Michigan has a long tradition of being a great example of American ingenuity. We created a way of life by inventing and making things that improve people's lives. We've done it before, and we can do it again. The vision for the new Michigan: share it, talk it up, drive it home.